The atmosphere in Houston is charged with a manic electricity, the kind that only manifests when the stakes are absolute, when the margin for error has dissolved into nothingness, and when the road to glory is paved with the shattered dreams of the unprepared. We are standing on the precipice of the wildcard round, a moment where legends are forged in the fires of competition, and the Houston Texans are preparing to lock horns with the Pittsburgh Steelers in a Monday night spectacle that promises to be nothing short of a gladiatorial war. But before a single snap is played, before the lights of NRG Stadium or the hostility of the road can even factor into the equation, head coach Demeco Ryans has sent a shockwave through the locker room that screams one undeniable truth: mediocrity will not be tolerated. In a move that defies conventional wisdom and embraces the ruthless pragmatism required to hoist the Lombardi Trophy, the Texans have shaken their roster to its very core. This is not just a tweak, this is a message. The team has parted ways with a player who was not merely a participant, but a starter, a man who logged significant snaps in the crucible of the season's final weeks. The decision to waive defensive back Kayvon Wallace is a visceral reminder that in Demeco Ryans' world, past pedigree means nothing if present execution is lacking. Before we continue, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching this news from? Let us dissect this seismic development with the surgical precision it demands. The news broke via the Texans' official channels, a cold, digital transmission that belied the human drama unfolding behind the scenes. Waived, a simple word, yet it carries the weight of a career altered. Kayvon Wallace, a player who had only recently arrived in Houston, having been claimed in November, found himself thrust into the limelight due to the attrition of an NFL season. He was the number 127 overall pick by the Philadelphia Eagles in 2020, a man with physical gifts and a desire to hit. Indeed, his tackling against the Los Angeles Chargers drew praise. It was violent, it was decisive, and it was exactly the brand of football Ryans usually covets. However, the NFL is a cruel mistress, and one dimension of play cannot mask failures in another. The catalyst for this sudden departure appears to be the regular season finale against the Indianapolis Colts, a game that, while a victory, exposed cracks in the defensive foundation that Ryans deemed unacceptable for postseason play. Demeco Ryans, a defensive architect of the highest order, watched the tape of that Colts game and saw what we all saw: broken coverages. In the high-stakes chess match of the NFL, a busted coverage is not just a mistake, it is a mortal sin. It is the giving of a gift to the enemy. Ryans was quoted lamenting the explosive plays given up by the defense. When a head coach, specifically one with Ryans' defensive pedigree, speaks of guys not being where they're supposed to be, he is not offering a casual critique, he is issuing an indictment. The specific quote is chilling in its clarity. From our last game, it's too many busts, guys not being where they're supposed to be, doing what they're supposed to do. Wallace, despite his physical tackling, was allegedly responsible for some of these catastrophic breakdowns. In the playoffs, against a team like the Steelers who will look to exploit any hesitation, you cannot afford a safety who is out of position. One false step, one moment of hesitation, one misread of the quarterback's eyes, and the season is over. Ryans knows this. He lived it as a player, and he preaches it as a coach. The standard is the standard. By cutting a player who started the last 2 weeks, Ryans is effectively telling the entire roster that no job is safe, no role is guaranteed, and accountability is the only currency that matters within the walls of the Texans facility. This is reminiscent of the earlier release of C.J. Gardner-Johnson, another move that signaled a prioritizing of system adherence over flashy names. The Texans are stripping away the unreliable elements, tightening the screws, and ensuring that the 11 men on the field on Monday night are essentially extensions of Ryans' own mind, disciplined, ferocious, and fundamentally sound. This is a gamble, certainly, removing a vested veteran for a playoff game, but it is a calculated risk taken by a coach who refuses to be the victim of his own team's errors.
Now, we must pivot to the strategic undercurrents of this maneuver, for Demeco Ryans is playing 4D chess while others are playing checkers. The departure of Kayvon Wallace is not merely a subtraction, it is the opening move in a complex sequence of roster manipulation designed to maximize the Texans' flexibility and potency for the playoff run. We must understand the nuance of the NFL rulebook to truly appreciate the genius, or the madness, at play here. Wallace is a vested veteran. This means he does not go through the standard waiver wire process, where other teams can snatch him up immediately. He is technically released and free to sign anywhere. However, the timing is critical. By releasing him now, the Texans open up a roster spot on the 53-man squad. But here is the kicker. Practice squad elevations reset in the postseason. This is a detail that casual observers miss. The Texans, having only used one standard elevation on Wallace during the regular season, could theoretically re-sign him to the practice squad and elevate him up to 3 times during the playoffs. This creates a loophole, a mechanism to keep him in the building and available for depth without burning a precious spot on the active 53-man roster. It is a ruthless business decision, betting that Wallace won't sign elsewhere immediately, or perhaps knowing that his best chance for a ring is to stay put in Houston. It clears the deck for the other side of this transaction, which is equally significant. Enter Darrell Taylor. The Texans did not just cut a safety, they activated a pass rusher. In the brutal calculus of playoff football, the ability to affect the quarterback is paramount. If you cannot cover perfectly, and let's be honest, no secondary covers perfectly for 60 minutes, you must destroy the passer. You must accelerate the clock in the quarterback's head. Darrell Taylor, a former second-round pick by the Seattle Seahawks, brings a pedigree of violence off the edge. He has been on the reserve/injured list, but his activation signals that he is ready to contribute to a rotation that already features the terrifying duo of Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. Think about the logic here. Ryans is trading a coverage liability for a pass rush asset. He is doubling down on the front seven. He is saying, we will not let the quarterback hold the ball long enough to find the holes in our secondary. Taylor joins a rotational group that includes Denico Autry and Derek Barnett. This depth is what wins championships. In the fourth quarter, when offensive tackles are gasping for air and their legs are heavy, having a fresh Darrell Taylor screaming off the edge is a nightmare for the opposition. The Texans tied for the 5th most sacks this season without Taylor's help. Imagine the havoc they can wreak with him added to the arsenal. This move also speaks volumes about the upcoming matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are a team that thrives on grit, on physical football, and on extending plays. Mike Tomlin's squad is never out of a fight. To beat them, you must match their intensity in the trenches. You cannot allow their quarterback, whether it be Wilson or Fields, to get comfortable or scramble for yardage. By bolstering the defensive end position, Ryans is building a wall. He is ensuring that the edges are sealed and that the pocket collapses. It is a direct challenge to the Steelers' offensive line. Furthermore, the decision to part with Wallace suggests that Ryans is confident in his remaining safeties, likely leaning heavily on Jalen Pitre and trusting Kalen Bullock to patrol the deep zones without the mental errors that plagued the unit in Indianapolis. It is a bold, aggressive, and potentially defining moment for this coaching staff. They are not sitting on their hands. They are not content with just making the playoffs. They are sculpting the roster in real time to win. This is the mentality of a predator. The Texans are hungry, they are ruthless, and they are making the hard choices necessary to survive the wildcard weekend. Monday night awaits, and the roster that takes the field will be one that Demeco Ryans believes, without a shadow of a doubt, is the best version of the Houston Texans possible. The time for excuses is over. The time for execution is now. Prepare yourselves, Houston. The real season begins today.